Stop Before You Start is a program that recognizes fear and facilitates connection.
We are a movement that empowers individuals to stop using drugs and alcohol before they start. I've been sober since June 18, 1996. When I got sober, one of the things that I was taught right away was I gotta stop thinking about myself and I gotta start thinking about other people. What I wanted to do was to start to do something before kids cross the line with drugs and alcohol.
More students need to understand what's happening and why they need to stop drinking and using drugs and alcohol before they ever start, because once they cross that bridge, it's a long, hard journey to get out of, and some never do.
My dad actually always told me when I was younger, and still to this day, never to suppress your feelings. If you can't open up and you can't talk to anybody about how you're feeling, you end up using drugs to cope with those feelings and to cope with that pain and the fear.
I basically grew up in a very normal household for the most part. I had both parents. We grew up in a really nice neighborhood. My perception was really skewed. I didn't quite understand how the rest of the world worked. I was in a lot of fear a lot. Just kind of like felt uncomfortable in my skin from a really young age, and I really didn't know how to deal with that.
At home, it wasn't okay to go and tell people your problems. And just living with that fear, just knowing coming home and not knowing what's going to happen. And just growing up, it was just hard. I always felt alone.
What we call the hood is a place that is dirty, unhealthy, and not a fair place for a kid to grow up in. They meet friends who have had similar problems, and to get away from their problems, they start doing drugs. They did it so much that, you know, they couldn't really tell which was real and what was not.
Growing up for me, as I go look back, I had so much fear and I couldn't talk about it. You know, I struggled with it. I struggled with not being good enough. I even struggled with my parents not accepting me at times. And I go back, I think about like when I found drugs and alcohol, I think drugs and alcohol was a solution for me. And there was no other solution that I knew at the time, because drugs and alcohol made me feel better about myself. It gave me a sense of purpose, it gave me a sense of belonging. It just was everything that I've been always looking for.
It was with my friend and a couple of his friends, and I just got really high because I smoked a lot. I texted my mom I'm high. I think it was my brother or someone that picked me up and dropped me off at home. Like after she saw my text and like she looked at me, she's like, "Are you high?" And I didn't feel embarrassed. I just felt really ashamed of myself. I just felt guilty. But then when I came to the decision where it's like, it's not worth my time, I just said no every time.
There's some sort of struggle at home, and they are powerless to change that and don't know how to do something different. They don't have the tools that they need, and they don't have people that they feel safe with often in their lives.
And family's where it all starts. If your home is unstabilized, you're gonna be unstabilized.
At first, I was just drinking, and I was 15 years old, and by that point, I started getting into drugs.
And I remember the bottle being passed around, and I remember the feeling of being a part of the second I took a drink. Yeah, I wasn't thinking I'm an alcoholic. I was thinking I'm not supposed to be doing this, but my friends are doing this, and we're under this cave, and they're all inviting me, and I'm accepted right now.
Fear is planted in a child at a very early age growing up, and as they get older, a substance is introduced to them. They take that substance, and that fear goes away. Some get addicted, some don't.
I was never really exposed to it when I was younger by like my friends, because we were in middle school and it just wasn't what people were doing. But as I got older, I kind of saw it in my family members, and yeah, it scared me. And I was just like, I don't want this to be me.
I'm fearful that I won't be able to carry out my destiny the way it should be carried out. Like I might mess up or go the wrong path, we're humans, so we're gonna make mistakes, and I have a couple of my fears still following me to this day, but I'm working on getting away from them entirely.
If you can trust someone at an early age or in middle school, you can trust someone to talk about your fear, that is amazing. Because fear is disastrous, and if you don't learn to share your fear with others, then you're already going down a path that is unimaginable.
I talk to my mom a lot about my fears. I talk to her about problems I have with people. I talk to her about anything she can help me with, and anything she can help me with, because I don't want to grow up unstabilized like my father and my uncles and aunts.
I do think it's important for kids to be able to trust their parents.
I think a lot of students are afraid to tell their parents about what's really going on.
I think trust is important in staying away from drugs and alcohol. Everybody can be saved, and that we don't have to live a horrible life and go down that path.
Trust is what eliminates fear, not drugs.
I've drank for so long and I've never had that hope of trying to stay sober. I never even looked at myself trying to get sober. I never thought alcohol would be my problem.
You better stop before you just keep on doing it again and again, because then you're gonna really enjoy it, and then you're just gonna throw away your life.
When you put drugs into your brain, it basically kicks out all the other parts of your life, like your family and your friends, and all that just goes away, and it's only drugs just coming in all the time. You could be that person that can hurt other people around you if you start, so just don't.
Dealing with, life issues that normal people deal with, and I'm learning how to deal with them being sober. But I'm getting through it. And just the fact that I'm sober is amazing, because I never thought I'd be sober. I never thought I'd make it to 21, honestly.
I had my own battles with addiction, pain medication, substance abuse, and I have watched over 30 friends that have died much too young because of drug overdoses. And I really see that we become who we surround ourselves with. And your friends, they're like elevators. They're either going to take you up or they're going to take you down. It's so important to be around people that are like-minded, and will be the one that's not afraid to tell you, hey, you got to stop doing that.
It's really, really important to surround yourself with people and friends who are going to bring you up. No matter what type of environment you grew up in, Stop Before You Start is a really, really great program because it connects people of all different backgrounds to find a common ground.
Stop before you start.
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 Stop before you start.